So here's the thing about waking up in a hospital with no memory. You'd think panic would hit first. Maybe fear. Maybe tears. For me, it was neither. It was him. A man I'd never seen before, standing beside my bed like he belonged there. Tall. Controlled. The kind of handsome that feels intentional, like every angle was carved with purpose. He wasn't sitting. Wasn't fidgeting. Just watching. Not in a creepy way. More like he was making sure I stayed real. I blinked at him. Once. Twice. Tried to piece together why a stranger would be staring at me in a hospital room at what looked like 3 in the morning. Who are you? I finally managed. He hesitated. Actually hesitated. Like the answer required effort. I'm the one who found you. And just like that, my life split into before and after. I just didn't know it yet. Hey, before we dive in deeper. If you're still here, you're part of this story. Subscribe to join this growing family, like the video if you felt the emotions, and comment your country or city. Let's see how far this story reached across the world. The words hang in the air between us. Found me. Simple. Direct. Completely unhelpful. I want to ask found me where, but my throat feels like sandpaper. My head pounds with a rhythm that matches the beeping monitor beside my bed. And there's this cold. This deep, stubborn cold that's wrapped around my bones like it has no intention of leaving. I try to sit up. The room spins. Tilts. A nurse materializes at my side, gentle hands guiding me back against the pillows. Easy, Miss Stevens. You need to take it slow. Miss Stevens. Bertha Stevens. The name feels right. Familiar. Like putting on an old sweater. But everything else? Blank. The man, the stranger, steps back to give the nurse space, but his eyes never leave me. There's something deliberate about the way he watches. Not invasive. Not uncomfortable. Just constant. Like he's afraid if he looks away for even a second, I'll disappear. Which is ridiculous. I'm the one who can't remember disappearing in the first place. What happened to me? I ask the nurse, though I'm looking at him. She checks the 4 in my arm. Adjusts something on the monitor. You were brought in last night with severe hypothermia. Your core temperature was dangerously low when you arrived. Hypothermia. The word sounds clinical. Distant. Like it happened to someone else. I glance toward the window. It's still dark outside. Fat snowflakes drift past the glass, illuminated by the cold blue glow of hospital lights. It looks peaceful out there. Beautiful even. Not like the kind of weather that nearly kills you. Where was I? The nurse hesitates. Glances at the man. He answers instead. His voice is deep. Measured. The kind of voice that sounds like he's used to being listened to. On the street. Near the financial district. You were unconscious when I found you. Unconscious. On the street. In a snowstorm. I wait for the memory to surface. Wait for some flash of recognition. Concrete under my cheek. Snow in my hair. The moment everything went dark. Nothing comes. Just cold. I don't remember that. The doctor said you might not, he says evenly. Memory loss is common with severe hypothermia and shock. Shock. I want to ask what shocked me. What I was doing out there in the first place. But the words tangle in my throat, and my head feels stuffed with cotton. The nurse finishes whatever she's doing and offers me a small, professional smile. Try to rest. The doctor will be in to see you soon. Then she's gone. The door clicks softly shut. And suddenly it's just me and this stranger who says he saved my life. I study him more carefully now that we're alone. Expensive coat draped over the chair beside him. Dark, well-tailored, the kind that costs more than most people's rent. Underneath, he's wearing a crisp white shirt with the sleeves rolled to his forearms. No tie. No wedding ring. No hospital badge clipped to his belt. No reason to be here except that he chose to be. Why are you still here? The question comes out sharper than I intend. But I need to know. Need to understand why a man who looks like him, put together, clearly successful, definitely busy, would spend hours at the bedside of a stranger. He doesn't flinch at my tone. Doesn't smile or try to soften the moment. He just looks at me with those unervingly steady eyes and says, "Because you didn't have anyone else." The honesty stings worse than the cold ever did. I want to argue. Want to insist that's not true. That somewhere out there someone must be looking for me. Worried. Calling hospitals. Filing missing person reports. But I can't. Because I don't remember anyone. No frantic best friend. No concerned boyfriend. No overbearing parent demanding to speak to a doctor. Just him. A stranger who found me freezing to death and decided that was somehow his problem. What's your name? I asked quietly. Richard Reed. Richard Reed. I turned the name over in my mind, testing it for recognition. Waiting for some spark of familiarity. Nothing. Should I know you? No. The bluntness catches me off guard. Most people would soften that. Add context. Explain the situation with apologies and reassurances. He just states it like a fact. I shift against the pillows, suddenly hyper-aware of how vulnerable I am right now. Wearing a thin hospital gown. Weak. Memory shattered. Completely dependent on the goodwill of a man I've known for approximately 5 minutes. Why did you bring me here? I ask. You could have just called an ambulance. I did call an ambulance. But you stayed. Yes. Why? His jaw tightens. Just slightly. The first crack in that composed exterior. Because leaving you there wasn't an option. For you or for me? He's quiet for a moment. Then, both. Something about that answer feels true. Uncomfortably, dangerously true. I want to keep pressing. Want to demand details. What exactly I was wearing, whether I said anything, if there was anyone else nearby, why he was in that part of town at that hour. But exhaustion crashes over me like a wave. My eyelids grow heavy. The beeping monitors fade into soothing background noise. Richard notices. Of course he notices. You should rest, he says quietly. I want to argue. Want to stay awake long enough to figure out what the hell is happening to me. But my body has other plans. Will you be here when I wake up? I don't know why I ask. Don't know why it matters. But it does. He looks at me for a long moment. Then nods once. Yes. And despite everything, despite the confusion, the fear, the gaping void where my memories should be, I believe him. I let my eyes close. The cold begins to fade. But Richard Reed stays. When I wake again, pale morning light is filtering through the blinds. The pounding in my head has dulled to a manageable ache. My mouth is dry, but my thoughts feel clearer. And Richard is still here. He's not in the chair anymore. He's standing by the window, hands in his pockets, looking out at the snow-covered city below. From this angle, I can see the tension in his shoulders. The way he holds himself perfectly still, like movement requires permission. He looks like he hasn't slept. Hasn't left. Just waited. You're still here, I whisper. He turns. No smile. No warmth. Just quiet acknowledgement. I said I would be. I push myself up slowly this time, testing my strength. The room stays steady. Small victory. How long was I asleep? 6 hours. 6 hours. And he stayed the entire time. You didn't have to do that. I know. His tone is completely flat. Not cold exactly. Just empty of emotion. Like he's had this conversation 1,000 times before and already knows how it ends. A different nurse comes in, older this time, with kind eyes and gentle hands. She checks my vitals, asks how I'm feeling, tells me the doctor will be in soon to discuss next steps. Richard steps into the hallway without being asked, giving us privacy. I watch him go, unsure whether I feel relieved or abandoned. The nurse notices. Of course she notices. He hasn't left once, you know, she says softly while she adjusts my fore. Not even to eat. Just stands there, watching over you. Is that normal? She smiles. It's a sad smile. Knowing. For someone who cares? Yes. But that's the problem, isn't it? Richard Reed doesn't look like someone who cares. He looks like someone forcing himself to. And I can't figure out which possibility is more terrifying. The doctor arrives about an hour later. She's middle-aged professional, with wire-rimmed glasses and a tablet tucked under her arm. She explains that physically, I'm recovering well. My body temperature is back to normal. No frostbite. No permanent damage. But my memory loss is a concern. It's not uncommon with severe hypothermia and psychological shock, she says gently. Your brain essentially shut down non-essential functions to protect itself. Memories, especially recent ones, can be affected. Will they come back? Possibly. Some patients recover their memories within days. Others take weeks. And some. She doesn't finish the sentence. She doesn't have to. Do I have any belongings? I ask, my voice smaller than I'd like. A wallet? Phone? Anything. She shakes her head. Nothing was found with you except the clothes you were wearing. Which were? A winter coat. Black leggings. Boots. All soaked through from the snow. I try to picture it. Try to imagine myself wandering the financial district alone in the middle of a snowstorm, dressed like I was heading somewhere specific. The image won't form. Can I see them? They've been bagged for you. But honestly, Ms. Stevens, I'd recommend focusing on your recovery first. Pushing too hard for memories can sometimes make the anxiety worse. She's being kind. Thorough. But she doesn't have the answers I need. Before she leaves, she says something that makes my stomach drop. You can't be discharged without a safe place to go and someone to monitor you for at least the next 72 hours. Do you have family we can call? A partner? Roommate? I open my mouth. Close it. I don't know. I don't remember a home address. A roommate's name. A boyfriend. Parents. Anyone. Nothing. Richard steps back into the room just as the silence becomes unbearable. The doctor looks at him. Then at me. A question forming. Is he family? I hesitate. Richard answers before I can. No. But I'll make sure she has what she needs. The certainty in his voice should be comforting. It's not. It feels like the beginning of something I won't be able to control. The doctor studies him for a moment, then nods slowly. We'll discuss discharge options later this afternoon. She leaves. And I'm alone with Richard Reed again. He doesn't sit. Doesn't move closer. Just stands there in that perfectly controlled way, unreadable as stone. You don't have to do this, I say quietly. I know. Then why? For the first time since I woke up, something flickers across his face. Not warmth. Not pity. Something heavier. Responsibility, maybe. Or guilt. Because right now, I'm the only person you know, he says carefully. And walking away would make me the kind of man I've spent years trying not to be. I don't know what to say to that. So I don't say anything. And somewhere in that silence, in the space between his words and my blank memory, I realize something important. My life has already changed. I just don't remember what it used to be. The afternoon drags on with the particular slowness that only hospitals seem to have mastered. Time feels thick here. Unnatural. Richard leaves briefly around noon. He doesn't announce it, doesn't ask permission. Just says he'll be back and walks out like it's the most normal thing in the world to abandon a stranger you've been watching over for 12 straight hours. I tell myself I don't care. I tell myself it's actually a relief to have the room to myself. But when the door clicks shut behind him, the silence feels too big, too empty. I hate that I notice. A physical therapist comes by to make sure I can walk without falling over. I can barely. My legs feel like they belong to someone else. She makes cheerful small talk about the weather, about spring coming eventually, about how lucky I am. Lucky. I don't feel lucky. I feel erased. She leaves me with instructions to walk the hallway a few times before dinner. Build up my strength. I manage 2 laps before my head starts swimming, and I have to sit down in one of those uncomfortable chairs they keep scattered around for visitors. That's where Richard finds me when he comes back. He's carrying a bag from somewhere. Not food. Clothes, I realize, when he sets it on the chair beside me. The nurse said you'd need something to wear home, he says simply. I had my assistant pick up a few things. I stare at the bag. Then at him. You had your assistant buy me clothes. Yes. That's. I don't know how to finish that sentence. Thoughtful? Invasive? Presumptuous? He seems to read my hesitation. They're basics. Nothing personal. You can return them if you prefer. Return them to who? I don't even know where I live. Thank you, I say instead, because what else can I say? And there it is. That flicker of discomfort. His jaw tightens just slightly. His eyes shift away for half a second before returning to my face. He doesn't like being thanked. I file that observation away with all the other small details I'm collecting about Richard Reed. The way he stands too still. The way he never seems to relax. The way he watches me like I'm a responsibility he can't figure out how to discharge. The doctor wants to see us both, he says. Can you walk? Us both. Like we're a unit. Like this is normal. I push myself to my feet. My legs cooperate, mostly. Richard doesn't offer his arm. Doesn't try to steady me. Just walks at a pace I can match. Close enough that if I stumble, he could catch me. But not touching. Never touching. We make our way through corridors that all look identical. White walls. Fluorescent lights. The smell of disinfectant and cafeteria food. Richard moves through it like he knows exactly where he's going, which I suppose he does. He's been here longer than I have, after all. The doctor's office is smaller than I expected. Dr. Sarah Chen, according to the nameplate on her desk. She gestures for us to sit. Richard waits until I'm seated before taking the chair beside me. Always careful. Always controlled. How are you feeling, Bertha? Dr. Chen asks. Confused, I answer honestly. But physically better. She nods like this is exactly what she expected. Your blood work came back normal. Your core temperature has stabilized. Physically, you're recovering well. But, because there's always a but. I can hear it coming. But the memory loss is still a concern. I've consulted with our neurologist. In cases like yours, where hypothermia combines with what we suspect is psychological trauma, recovery can be unpredictable. What does that mean? It means your memories may return gradually, in fragments, or they may not return at all. The words land like stones in still water, ripples spreading outward. So I might never remember what happened to me? It's possible, Dr. Chen says gently, but not certain. The brain is remarkably resilient. What's most important right now is creating a safe, stable environment for your recovery. Stress and anxiety can actually inhibit memory restoration. She glances at Richard, then back to me. Which brings us to the discharge plan. You're well enough to leave tomorrow morning, but hospital policy requires that you have a safe place to go and someone to stay with you for at least 72 hours. After that, we'd recommend weekly follow-ups. I don't remember where I live, I say quietly. We've run your name through our system and contacted local authorities, Dr. Chen continues. So far, no one has reported you missing. We haven't been able to locate an address or emergency contact. No one reported me missing. The words echo in my head, reshaping themselves into something sharper. No one is looking for me. We did find employment records, Dr. Chen adds, pulling up something on her tablet. You work for Hartfield Industries. Administrative Division. I called their HR department this morning. Finally. Something concrete. Something real. What did they say? They confirmed your employment but said you'd called in sick 3 days ago. They weren't aware of any emergency. 3 days ago. So whatever happened to me, it happened after that call. Did they give you my address? A phone number. Dr. Chen shakes her head. HR cited privacy policies. They said they'd need your written consent to release personal information. Of course they did. Richard speaks for the first time since we sat down. I can take her to the company tomorrow. Let her sort it out directly. Dr. Chen considers this. That's one option. But she still needs somewhere to stay tonight and a plan for the next few days. The silence that follows feels heavy. I know what she's asking. What everyone's been dancing around. I have nowhere to go. No home I can remember. No friend to call. No family stepping forward. Just Richard Reed. A stranger who found me freezing to death and somehow became the only constant in my fractured world. She can stay at my house. The words come out flat. Matter of fact. Like he's offering to give someone a ride to the airport, not inviting a stranger to live with him. Dr. Chen looks surprised. Mr. Reed, that's very generous, but I want to make sure both of you understand what this entails. Bertha will need monitoring. She may experience confusion, disorientation, mood changes. This isn't a small commitment. I understand. And you, Bertha? Dr. Chen turns to me. How do you feel about this arrangement? How do I feel? Terrified. Grateful. Suspicious. Overwhelmed. Like I'm standing at the edge of something I can't see the bottom of. I don't have other options, I say finally. It's not an answer, but it's the truth. Dr. Chen studies both of us for a long moment. I can see her weighing something. Professional obligation against practical reality. All right, she says slowly. I'll approve discharge tomorrow morning under Mr. Reed's care. But I want you back here in 3 days for a follow-up. And Bertha, if at any point you feel unsafe or uncomfortable, you call this number. She writes something on a card and slides it across the desk. A crisis hotline. Resources for vulnerable adults. I take the card. Richard's expression doesn't change. We're dismissed with instructions and prescriptions and a folder full of paperwork about trauma and memory loss that I'm supposed to read when I'm feeling stronger. The walk back to my room is quiet. Richard doesn't try to fill the silence. Doesn't reassure me that everything will be fine. Doesn't promise this arrangement will be easy or comfortable or safe. He just walks beside me. Present. Constant. Unreadable. When we reach my room, he stops at the doorway. I'll be back tomorrow morning at 9, he says. We'll get you discharged and go from there. Richard. He pauses. Looks at me. Why are you doing this? I've asked before, but this time I need a real answer. Need to understand why a man who looks like he has everything would voluntarily complicate his life with someone else's disaster. He's quiet for so long I think he won't answer. Then, quietly, because someone should. It's not the answer I expected. It's not enough. But it's all he's willing to give. He leaves. And I'm alone again with my blank memories and borrowed hospital gown and the growing certainty that accepting Richard Reed's help is either the safest or most dangerous decision I could make. I just don't know which. The morning of discharge feels surreal. I dress in the clothes Richard's assistant picked out. Black leggings. A soft gray sweater. A winter coat that fits perfectly, which somehow makes it worse. Someone I've never met guessed my size. Got it right. I don't know whether to be impressed or unsettled. The nurse who helped me dress gave me an encouraging smile and a pamphlet about trauma recovery. I thanked her and immediately forgot her name. Everything feels slippery right now. Hard to hold on to. Richard arrives exactly at 9. Punctual. Of course he is. He's wearing a different coat today. Still expensive. Still perfectly tailored. He looks like he slept, which means he actually went home at some point. The thought hadn't occurred to me until now. That he has a life outside this hospital. Responsibilities. A home he'll be bringing me to. A home I know nothing about. Dr. Chen meets us in the hallway with final instructions. Take it easy. Don't push for memories. Follow up in 3 days. Call if anything changes. She hands Richard a folder with my discharge papers and medication instructions. Like he's responsible for me now. Legally. Officially. He takes it without hesitation. Ready? He asks me. No. Not even a little bit. Yes, I say. The walk through the hospital feels longer than it should. We pass the waiting room where anxious families cluster together. A father pacing with a coffee cup. A woman crying quietly into her phone. People with emergencies. People waiting for news. I wonder if anyone waited for me. The automatic doors slide open. Cold air hits my face. It's not snowing anymore, but the world outside is white. Clean. The kind of brightness that hurts to look at. Richard's car is parked close. Black. Sleek. The kind of car that doesn't just cost money but announces it. He opens the passenger door. Waits. I slide in. The leather is soft. The interior smells new. Everything about this vehicle screams control. Precision. Wealth. Richard gets in the driver's side. Starts the engine. Doesn't ask if I'm comfortable or scared or having second thoughts. We pull out of the hospital parking lot in silence. The city looks different in daylight. Cleaner than I expected. Busier. People hurrying along sidewalks, heads down against the cold. Businesses opening. Life continuing like nothing happened. Like I didn't almost die 3 nights ago. Where do you live? I ask, because the silence is starting to press against my chest. North side. About 20 minutes from here. 20 minutes. Not far. But far enough that turning back would require explanation. I watch the buildings slide past. Try to see if anything sparks recognition. A storefront. A street sign. Anything. Nothing. We should go to my workplace first, I say suddenly. Hartfield Industries. Maybe someone there knows me. Maybe they can help. Richard's hands tighten slightly on the wheel. Not today. Why not? Because you were just discharged from the hospital. Because pushing too hard won't help. Because showing up confused and vulnerable at a workplace you don't remember is a bad idea. The logic is sound. I hate that it's sound. Then when? When you're stronger. When he decides I'm ready, he means. The power imbalance settles over me like a weight. He controls the car, the timeline, the destination. I'm just a passenger in every sense of the word. This isn't charity, Richard says suddenly, like he can read my thoughts. I want that clear. I turn to look at him. His profile is sharp, focused on the road. Then what is it? Responsibility. The word sounds clinical, detached. You don't owe me anything, I say quietly. I found you. That makes you my responsibility until you're not. Until I'm not. Like there's an expiration date. A clear endpoint where I stop being his problem. It should be reassuring. Instead, it feels cold. What are the rules? I ask. He glances at me briefly. Rules? For staying at your house. What do you expect? Something flickers across his face. Surprise, maybe. Or approval. Stay out of my office. Don't go through my things. We're not friends. This is temporary. The bluntness should sting. It doesn't. It's honest. And right now, honesty feels safer than kindness. And if my memories come back and I want to leave, then you leave. Simple. Clean. No manipulation. No guilt. But also no warmth. We turn onto a tree-lined street. The buildings here are different. Older. Beautiful in that historical way that requires money to maintain. Richard pulls into an underground garage beneath a building that's all glass and stone and architectural elegance. He parks. Cuts the engine. Neither of us moves. I know this is strange, he says finally. I know you have no reason to trust me. But I don't have a choice. You always have a choice. I turn to face him fully. Do I? Because from where I'm sitting, my options are accept your help or end up back on the street with no memory, no money, and no one looking for me. His jaw tightens. That's not what I meant. Then what did you mean? He's quiet for a long moment. When he speaks, his voice is lower. Careful. I mean that if at any point this doesn't feel safe, you can walk away. I'll help you find somewhere else. No conditions. It's the first thing he said that sounds like actual kindness instead of obligation. I don't know if that makes it more or less frightening. Why don't you believe in attachment? I ask suddenly. The question catches him off guard. I can see it in the way his shoulders stiffen. Who said I don't? You did. In the way you talk. The way you set boundaries like walls. He stares straight ahead. At concrete pillars and expensive cars. At anything but me. Because attachment is how you lose people, he says finally. And I'm done losing people. The rawness in those words catches me completely unprepared. This isn't attachment. It's protection. Scar tissue built over something that hurt badly enough to change him. We sit in silence. Two damaged people in an expensive car, both hiding from different versions of the same fear. Okay, I say softly. Okay, what? Okay, I'll stay. With your rules. Until I remember who I am. He nods once. Sharp. Final. We get out of the car. He leads me to an elevator that requires a key card. We ride up in silence. The numbers climb. 10th floor. 15th. 20th. We don't stop until 32. The doors open directly into a penthouse. Floor-to-ceiling windows. Minimalist furniture. Everything white and gray and perfectly controlled. It's beautiful. Cold. Exactly what I expected. Guest room is down the hall, Richard says. Second door on the left. You should rest. He's already walking away. Already creating distance. I stand in the entryway of this stranger's immaculate home and realize something that makes my stomach drop. I'm safer here than anywhere else I could go. And that's exactly why I should be afraid. The guest room is perfect. That's the problem. White bedding. Gray walls. A single piece of abstract art that means nothing. Everything coordinated. Everything deliberate. It looks like a hotel room designed by someone who studied luxury but forgot about living. I set the small bag of clothes on the bed. Everything I own in the world fits in one shopping bag. The thought should devastate me. Instead, I feel numb. There's an attached bathroom. Marble counters. Rainfall shower. Towels so thick and white they look like they've never been used. Probably haven't. This feels like a room that exists for the concept of guests, not actual people. I wash my face. Stare at myself in the mirror. The woman looking back seems familiar but distant. Like a photograph of someone I used to know. My hair needs washing. There are shadows under my eyes. But the blankness behind them is what unsettles me most. Who are you? I ask my reflection. She doesn't answer. When I emerge from the bathroom, I find Richard standing in the hallway. Not in the room. Never crossing that threshold. But close enough that I know he was checking. There's food in the kitchen, he says. Help yourself to whatever you need. Thank you. That flicker of discomfort again. He nods and starts to walk away. Richard. He stops. Doesn't turn around. Where's your room? End of the hall. Far enough for privacy. Close enough to hear if something goes wrong. And your office? The one I'm not supposed to enter. Downstairs. You won't accidentally wander in. There's something in his tone. Not quite warning. More like protection. Like he's establishing boundaries to keep something locked away. Okay, I say. He leaves without another word. I spend the afternoon exploring the parts of the penthouse I'm allowed to see. The living room with its uncomfortable-looking designer furniture. The kitchen that's all stainless steel and marble, equipped like a professional chef works here but feeling utterly unused. A dining table that could seat 10 but probably never has. Everything is beautiful. Nothing is warm. I find myself gravitating toward the windows. The view is breathtaking. The city spreads out below like a living map. Tiny cars. Distant buildings. People living lives I can't remember being part of. Somewhere down there, I had an apartment. A routine. Maybe friends. A favorite coffee shop. All of it gone. Erased. I press my palm against the glass. It's cold. You should eat something. I spin around. Richard is standing in the kitchen doorway. I didn't hear him approach. Didn't notice him watching. How long has he been there? I'm not hungry. The doctor said you need to maintain your strength. I'm fine. He studies me for a moment. Then moves into the kitchen. Opens the refrigerator. Pulls out ingredients with the efficiency of someone following a checklist. What are you doing? Making dinner. You don't have to do that. You're not eating. Someone has to. I watch him work. He moves through the kitchen like everything else. Controlled, precise, emotionless. Chopping vegetables. Heating a pan. No wasted motion. Do you always cook for your house guests? I ask, aiming for lightness. I don't have house guests. Then why do you have a guest room? His knife pauses mid-cut. Just for a second. Because the penthouse came with one. It's not an answer. It's deflection. I sit at the kitchen island. Watch him cook. There's something almost meditative about it. The rhythm. The focus. The way he loses himself in the task. You're good at this, I observe. It's just pasta. Still. He doesn't respond. Just continues cooking in that methodical way that makes me wonder if he does everything this carefully. If his whole life is this contained. When he plates the food, it looks restaurant quality. He sets one plate in front of me. Takes the other to the opposite end of the island. Not together. Never too close. We eat in silence. The pasta is perfect. Of course it is. This is really good, I say quietly. He doesn't look up. You should sleep after this. Your body needs rest. Translation. Conversation over. I finish eating. Rinse my plate. He doesn't argue when I do it myself. Good night, I say. Good night, Bertha. My name sounds strange in his voice. Formal. Like he's reminding himself I'm a person, not just a responsibility. I retreat to the guest room. Close the door. Lean against it. The silence here is different from the hospital. Heavier. More complete. I'm alone but not really. Richard is somewhere in this penthouse. Close enough to matter. Far enough to avoid. I change into the pajamas that came in the clothing bag. Soft cotton. Nothing revealing. Practical. Whoever his assistant is, they're good at their job. I climb into bed. The mattress is perfect. The sheets are perfect. Everything is perfect. And I've never felt more isolated in my life. Sleep doesn't come easily. I lie there listening to the sounds of the penthouse. The hum of expensive appliances. The distant rhythm of the city below. Footsteps in the hallway. Richard pacing. I check the clock. 2 in the morning. The footsteps continue. Back and forth. Like he can't settle either. I shouldn't care. Shouldn't let it matter. But there's something about knowing he's awake too. Restless too. Haunted by whatever keeps a man like him from believing in attachment. I think about what he said in the car. Attachment is how you lose people. Who did he lose? And why does he look at me sometimes like he's afraid I'll disappear? The footsteps finally stop. A door closes. Silence returns. I stare at the ceiling and try not to think about how desire works. How it sneaks up on you when you're vulnerable. When someone becomes your only constant. This isn't attraction, I tell myself. It's dependence. Proximity. The natural human response to safety after trauma. But when I close my eyes, I see Richard's hands. The way they move when he cooks. Strong. Careful. Controlled. I see the tension in his jaw when I thank him. I see the way he watches me like I'm something fragile he doesn't know how to hold. And I wonder what would happen if someone taught him. Sleep finally comes around for. When I wake, pale light is filtering through curtains I don't remember closing. There's a glass of water on the nightstand. Fresh. Cold. Richard must have brought it while I slept. The kindness feels invasive and tender at the same time. I drink the water. Get dressed. Find my way to the kitchen. He's already there. Coffee made. Toast waiting. How did you sleep? He asks without looking at me. Fine. A lie. We both know it. I have work today, he says. I'll be in my office. If you need anything, don't disturb me unless it's urgent. Boundaries again. Walls rebuilt. Understood. He takes his coffee and disappears downstairs. I'm alone in this beautiful, empty penthouse. And the question that's been building since yesterday finally crystallizes into something I can't ignore. If Richard doesn't believe in attachment, why does he keep finding reasons to stay close? 3 days pass in careful distance. Richard works. I exist. He's in his office most hours, emerging only for coffee or meals he prepares with mechanical efficiency. We eat at opposite ends of the kitchen island. Exchange pleasantries that mean nothing. Maintain the boundaries he established like they're written in stone. I should be grateful for the space. Instead, I feel like I'm disappearing. On the 4th night, I can't sleep again. The penthouse feels too quiet. Too big. I wander into the kitchen around midnight, thinking tea might help. Chamomile or whatever rich people drink when their minds won't stop spinning. Richard is already there. He's sitting at the island with a glass of something amber. Whiskey, probably. His shirt sleeves are rolled up. Tie discarded. He looks less controlled than usual. More human. Sorry, I say, freezing in the doorway. I didn't mean to interrupt. You're not. He doesn't tell me to leave. Doesn't move. Just takes another sip of his drink and stares at nothing. I move to the cabinet. Find tea bags. Fill the kettle. The silence stretches but doesn't feel hostile. Just heavy. Can't sleep, he asks. Not really. You. I don't sleep much. The kettle heats. I lean against the counter, watching him. In this light, with his guard partially down, I can see the exhaustion around his eyes. The tension he carries in his shoulders. How long has it been? I ask quietly. How long has what been? Since you slept properly. He considers the question like it requires calculation. Years. The honesty surprises me. Why? Because sleep requires letting your guard down. And I'm not good at that. The kettle whistles. I pour hot water over the tea bag. Watch the color bleed into clarity. That sounds exhausting, I say. It is. I take the seat across from him. Not at the opposite end this time. Closer. Testing boundaries without breaking them. Can I ask you something? He looks at me then. Really looks. Like he's deciding whether to allow it. You can ask. I may not answer. Fair enough. Why don't you believe in love? The question hangs between us. I watch something shift behind his eyes. A door he usually keeps locked rattling on its hinges. He takes another drink. Sets the glass down with careful precision. Because I did once, he says finally. And it destroyed me. The rawness in those words makes my chest tighten. What happened? He's quiet for so long I think he won't answer. Then he starts talking, and I realize this is a story he doesn't tell. Maybe has never told. Her name was Claire. We were together for 3 years. I thought. He stops. Recalibrates. I believed we were building something permanent. Past tense. All past tense. She left one morning. No warning. No explanation. Just a note that said she couldn't do this anymore. This, me, us, the life we'd built. His jaw tightens. I spent months trying to understand what I'd done wrong. Replaying every conversation. Every moment. Trying to find where I'd failed. And eventually I realized the problem wasn't what I'd done. It was what I'd believed. That love was something you could trust. That if you gave enough, tried enough, it would stay. The bitterness in his voice isn't loud. It's quiet. Settled. The kind that comes from years of reinforcement. That's not love's fault, I say softly. That's her fault. He looks at me like I've said something naive. Love gave her the power to leave. I gave her that power by caring. By attaching. By believing permanence was possible. So you decided never to attach again. I decided to protect myself. That's not protection. That's isolation. His eyes sharpen. You don't know what you're talking about. Don't I? I lean forward slightly. I woke up with no memory. No past. No connections. I know exactly what isolation feels like, Richard. And I can tell you, it doesn't protect you from pain. It just guarantees you'll face it alone. The silence that follows feels charged. Electric. He stands abruptly. Puts distance between us. You should go to bed. I'm not tired. Bertha. There's warning in my name. A boundary being enforced. But I'm tired of boundaries. Tired of pretending this careful distance is healthy. Why does it scare you? I ask. When I get too close? It doesn't. Liar. He turns to face me. The control is cracking. I can see it in the tension of his posture. The way his hands curl into fists at his sides. You want honesty? Fine. You scare me because you're temporary. Because in a few days or weeks, you'll remember who you are and leave. And I've already made the mistake of letting someone matter. The confession hits harder than expected. I'm not her, I say quietly. I know. Then why are you treating me like I'm about to vanish? Because everyone does. His voice drops. Roughens. Everyone leaves eventually. The only question is whether you see it coming. I stand. Move toward him. Not touching. But close enough that he'd have to actively step back to maintain distance. I'm not leaving tonight, I say. Or tomorrow. Or the day after. I'm here. Present. Right in front of you. For now. That's all anyone has. Now. Something flickers in his expression. Want, maybe. Or fear. Or both tangled together so completely they're indistinguishable. His hand lifts. Just slightly. Like he's going to reach for me. Then he stops himself. Drops it. Go to bed, Bertha. It's not a suggestion. It's a retreat. I should listen. Should respect the boundary he's desperately trying to maintain. Instead, I stay exactly where I am. What if I don't want to? His breathing changes. Shallow. Careful. What do you want? The question feels dangerous. Loaded. I want you to stop treating connection like a weapon. And if I can't, then I want you to at least be honest about why you're fighting it. We're standing too close now. Close enough that I can see the war happening behind his eyes. The part of him that wants versus the part that won't allow it. You don't know what you're asking, he says, voice low. Then tell me. For a moment, I think he will. Think he'll close the distance. Give in to whatever this is building between us. Instead, he steps back. Good night, Bertha. Final. Absolute. I watch him walk away. Disappear down the hallway to his room. The door closes with a soft click that sounds like armor locking back into place. I stand in the kitchen alone. Heart pounding. Hands shaking. And I realize something that terrifies me more than lost memories ever could. I'm falling for a man who's built his entire life around the certainty that love is just another way to bleed. The memory hits me 3 days later while I'm making coffee. 1 second I'm measuring grounds. The next I'm somewhere else entirely. A parking garage. Concrete pillars. The smell of exhaust and cold metal. I'm running. My heart is slamming against my ribs. My breath comes in sharp bursts that fog in the freezing air. Footsteps echo behind me. Not close, but coming. You should have kept your mouth shut, Bertha. A voice. Male. Familiar in a way that makes my skin crawl. I stumble. Catch myself against a car. The metal is ice under my palms. Wait. I try to call out. But my voice sounds wrong. Desperate. I didn't tell anyone. I swear I didn't. You're a liability. The scene fractures. Dissolves. I'm back in Richard's kitchen. Coffee grounds scattered across the counter. My hands shaking so badly I can barely hold the scoop. Bertha. I spin around. Richard is standing in the doorway. Still in his sleep clothes. Black t-shirt. Gray sweatpants. Hair slightly mussed. He must have heard something. A noise I made without realizing. I remembered something, I whisper. He goes very still. What did you remember? Running. Someone chasing me. A parking garage. When? I don't know. But it was recent. Days before you found me, maybe. He moves closer. Careful. Like I'm something that might shatter. What else? A voice. A man. He said I was a liability. That I should have kept my mouth shut. The fear must show on my face because Richard's expression shifts. Something protective flickers in his eyes before he shuts it down. Sit, he says quietly. I do. My legs feel unsteady. He cleans up the spilled coffee grounds without comment. Makes the coffee himself. Sets a mug in front of me. Drink. I wrap my hands around it. The warmth helps. Grounds me. This is good, Richard says after a moment. Memory returning means your brain is healing. It doesn't feel good. It feels terrifying. I know. We sit in silence. I sip the coffee. Try to slow my breathing. Tell me about Hartfield Industries, I say suddenly. Richard's eyes sharpen. Why? Because that's where I worked. Dr. Chen said so. And I keep feeling like it's connected. Like whatever happened to me started there. He studies me for a long moment. Then pulls out his phone. Types something. Pulls up information. Hartfield Industries. Major consulting firm. Specializes in corporate restructuring and financial analysis. High-profile clients. Big money. What was my position? He scrolls. Administrative coordinator. Financial division. Administrative. Not executive. Not high level. But close enough to see things. What kind of things would I have access to? I ask. Richard understands where I'm going immediately. Depends. Administrative roles often handle scheduling, file management, communication routing. You'd see emails, documents, meeting notes. So if something illegal was happening, you might notice. The pieces start clicking together. Not memories. Just logic. Terrible, inevitable logic. Someone wanted me gone, I say quietly. Not dead. Just silent. That's a serious accusation. Is it still an accusation if I can't remember enough to prove it? Richard sets his phone down. Leans back. Thinks. We should call the police, he says finally. And tell them what? That I have a fragment of a memory and a feeling. It's more than that. Is it? I don't remember who was chasing me. I don't remember what I supposedly knew. I can't name names or provide evidence. All I have is fear. The frustration in my voice surprises me. But it's true. I'm remembering just enough to be terrified, but not enough to do anything about it. Richard is quiet for a moment. Then, what do you want to do? The question catches me off guard. He's not making decisions for me. Not taking control. Just asking. I want to remember, I say. Everything. So I can understand what happened. Memory doesn't work on command. The doctor said pushing too hard could make it worse. I know. But sitting here waiting feels impossible. Another silence. Richard drinks his coffee. Weighs something. We could go there, he says finally. Where? Hartfield. See if being in the building triggers anything. I look at him. Really look. You said showing up confused was a bad idea. It is. But you're not as confused as you were. And you deserve answers. The shift in his tone tells me this isn't easy for him. This is engagement. Investment. The exact thing he spent days avoiding. You'd come with me? I ask. Yes. Why? He meets my eyes. Because if someone tried to hurt you once, they might try again. And until you remember enough to protect yourself, someone should. There it is again. Responsibility masquerading as distance. But I'm starting to see through it. Starting to understand that Richard's control isn't coldness. It's fear. And his boundaries aren't rejection. They're armor. Okay, I say. We'll go tomorrow. He nods. Stands. Takes both our empty mugs to the sink. Try to rest today. Don't push for more memories. Let them come naturally. Richard. He pauses. Thank you. For not making me do this alone. That flicker of discomfort. But this time something else underneath it. Something softer. You're welcome. He leaves before I can say anything else. I sit in the kitchen as morning light fills the space. Try to relax. Let my mind wander. Another fragment surfaces. Gentler this time. An office. Fluorescent lights. The click of keyboards. I'm at a desk. Filing something. A document catches my eye. Financial projections. Numbers that don't add up. I pause. Look closer. Someone walks past. Says my name sharply. Bertha. That's confidential. I look up. A woman. Blonde. Expensive suit. Smile that doesn't reach her eyes. Sorry. I was just doing your job. Which doesn't include reading executive documents. The memory fades. But the feeling stays. Unease. The sense of seeing something I wasn't supposed to see. I pull out my phone. The one Richard gave me since mine was never found. Search Hartfield Industries. Their website is sleek. Professional. Photos of smiling executives. Mission statements about integrity and excellence. I scroll through leadership. Stop on one photo. Blonde woman. Expensive suit. Smile that doesn't reach her eyes. Vanessa Chin. Senior Vice President. Financial Strategy. I know her. And somehow I know she's dangerous. My hands start shaking again. I set the phone down before I drop it. The apartment feels too exposed suddenly. Too many windows. Too much glass. I move away from the kitchen. Find myself in the hallway outside Richard's office. The door is closed. He's working. I shouldn't disturb him unless it's urgent. Is this urgent? A fragment of memory and a bad feeling? I raise my hand to knock. Hesitate. What if I'm wrong? What if this is paranoia, not memory? But what if I'm right? Before I can decide, Richard's door opens. He's there, looking at me with that unreadable expression. I felt you standing there, he says quietly. I remembered something else. Come in. I step into his office for the first time. It's darker than the rest of the penthouse. More lived in. Books. Papers. Multiple monitors. This is where he actually exists. What did you remember? He asks. I tell him about the document. The woman. Vanessa Chin. Richard pulls up her profile on his computer. Studies it. She's high level. Been with Hartfield for 8 years. Clean public record. But clean records don't mean much if you know how to hide. He looks at me. Something shifts in his expression. If you're right, if she's involved, going to that building tomorrow puts you directly in her path. I know. You could wait. Recover more memories first. I could. But what if she knows I survived? What if waiting gives her time to cover tracks or try again? The logic is sound. Terrifying. But sound. Richard closes his laptop. Stands. Moves closer. If we do this, we do it carefully. You don't go anywhere alone. You don't talk to anyone without me there. Understood. Understood. We're standing close again. Like last night in the kitchen. That same electric tension. I won't let anyone hurt you, Richard says quietly. You can't promise that. I just did. And for the first time since waking up in that hospital, I believe safety might actually be possible. Even if the man offering it doesn't believe in love. We don't go to Hartfield the next day. Or the day after. Because the morning we're supposed to leave, I wake up to find Richard standing at my bedroom door. Not inside. Never inside. But there. Waiting. Someone's been asking about you, he says without preamble. Sleep evaporates instantly. Who? A private investigator. Called my office yesterday. Said he was hired to locate a missing person matching your description. My stomach drops. By who? He wouldn't say. Client confidentiality. I sit up. Pull the blankets tighter around myself like they offer actual protection. What did you tell him? Nothing. My assistant said I was unavailable and took a message. He pauses. But he'll call back. And if he's been hired, others might be looking too. The implication settles like ice in my chest. Someone knows I'm alive. This could be good, I say, not believing it. Maybe someone who cares about me is looking. Richard's expression tells me he doesn't believe it either. Or someone who wants to finish what they started. The bluntness should shock me. It doesn't. Because I've been thinking the same thing since yesterday's memory. So what do we do? He moves into the room. Still maintaining distance but closer than before. We assume the worst. That whoever's looking isn't friendly. That going to Hartfield right now is exactly what they'd expect. So I just hide? Stay here forever? No. But we need more information before we make you visible. The frustration rises sharp and hot. I'm not a child, Richard. You can't just lock me away and decide what's safe. I'm not trying to control you. Aren't you? The words come out harsher than intended. But I'm tired. Tired of being careful. Tired of depending on someone else's judgment because my own memory is fractured. Richard's jaw tightens. I'm trying to keep you alive. By making decisions for me. By using resources you don't have. What resources? Money? Connections. I stand up now, facing him across the space he won't cross. Those don't mean anything if I'm too scared to exist. Better scared than dead. The rawness in those words stops me cold. He looks away. Runs a hand through his hair. The composure is cracking. You don't understand what people with power can do, he says quietly. How easily they can make problems disappear. If Vanessa Chen wanted you gone, she has the means. The connections. Going after her without proof is suicide. Then help me find proof. I'm trying. By keeping me hidden? By keeping you safe until we know what we're dealing with. The silence that follows feels loaded. Heavy with everything we're not saying. Someone tried to kill me, I say finally. Voice steady despite the fear. Not scare me. Not threaten me. Kill me. They left me freezing in the street because they thought I'd die before anyone found me. Richard's hands curl into fists at his sides. And the only reason I'm alive is because you happened to be there. Because you made a choice that night to help instead of walk away. Bertha. But now I'm putting you in danger too. Just by being here. By existing in your space. That's not. It is. And you know it. I take a step closer. He doesn't retreat. Every day I stay, I risk pulling you into whatever this is. And that terrifies me more than my missing memories. His eyes meet mine. Something raw flickering in their depths. You think I don't know that? His voice is low. Rough. You think I haven't calculated every risk of keeping you here? Then why do it? Because walking away from you isn't an option I'm willing to consider. The confession hangs between us. Unplanned. Unguarded. I see the moment he realizes what he's said. See him try to rebuild the walls. As a matter of responsibility, he adds quickly. Too quickly. Is that really what this is? He doesn't answer. I move closer. 1 step. 2. Testing. You pull back every time we get too close, I say quietly. Every time something shifts between us. Why? Because getting close is how people get hurt. People are already hurt, Richard. We're both walking around with damage we can't fix. The question is whether we face it alone or not. He's breathing harder now. Barely noticeable. But I'm close enough to see it. You don't know what you're asking, he says. I'm not asking for anything. I'm just telling you the truth. Which is? I take 1 more step. Close enough now that I could reach out and touch him. close enough to feel the heat of him. That I care about you. And I think you care about me. And that scares you more than any threat from my past ever could. His hand lifts. Just slightly. Like before. Like he's going to close the distance. This time he does. His fingers brush my cheek. Barely contact. Just enough to make my breath catch. This is a mistake, he whispers. Probably. You'll remember who you are. You'll leave. Maybe. And I'll be exactly where I was before. Alone. By choice. Is that really what you want? His thumb traces along my jawline. Featherlight. Devastating. No, he admits. But it's safer. For who? He doesn't answer. Just looks at me like I'm something he wants and fears in equal measure. Then his phone rings. The moment shatters. He drops his hand. Steps back. Answers. Read. I watch his expression change. Harden. When? A pause. Are you certain? His eyes find mine. Something in them makes my blood run cold. Don't let anyone in. I'm coming down. He ends the call. What happened? Security just caught someone trying to access the building's resident database. They claimed to be from building management. But they weren't. No. The fear that's been simmering all morning boils over. They found me. We don't know that. They found me, Richard. Whoever wants me gone knows I'm here. He's already moving. Grabbing his phone. Making calls. I stand in the middle of the guest room and realize something that changes everything. The danger isn't abstract anymore. It's here. Real. Immediate. And the man I'm falling for is standing directly in its path. Pack a bag, Richard says, ending another call. We're leaving. Where? Somewhere they won't think to look. Richard. No, Bertha. It's not a suggestion. It's survival. I grab the few things I own. Shove them in the bag. Richard appears in the doorway. He's changed. Dark jeans. Jacket. He looks different. Less businessman. More dangerous. Ready? No. But does that matter? Not right now. We leave through the service elevator. Take the parking garage exit. Richard's car is already running. He must have called ahead. We drive in silence. Away from the penthouse. Away from the only safe place I've known since waking up. I'm sorry, I say quietly. For what? For bringing this into your life. He glances at me. And for the first time since I've known him, his expression isn't guarded. It's fierce. You didn't bring anything. You survived. There's a difference. But now you're exactly where I choose to be. The certainty in his voice should comfort me. Instead, it terrifies me. Because I've just realized the most dangerous truth of all. I'm not just falling for Richard Reed anymore. I've already fallen. And if loving him puts him in danger, what does that make me? Richard takes us to a hotel 30 minutes outside the city. Not luxury. Strategic. The kind of place that doesn't ask questions and takes cash. We check in under a name that isn't mine. He pays. Handles everything. I follow like a shadow. The room is small. 2 beds. A window overlooking the parking lot. Nothing like the penthouse. Nothing safe. Richard locks the door. Checks the window. Closes the curtains. We'll stay here tonight, he says. Tomorrow I'll make other arrangements. I sit on the edge of the bed. Hands shaking. This is real now, I whisper. It was always real. Now it's just closer. He's right. But proximity changes everything. I try to breathe. Try to think. But my mind feels like it's fracturing. And then it happens. The memory doesn't ease in this time. It slams into me like a freight train. I'm in an office. Vanessa Chen's office. She's behind her desk. Smiling that hollow smile. You're very observant, Bertha. I've always appreciated that about you. I'm holding documents. Financial records. My hands are trembling. These numbers don't match the reports you submitted to the board. Her smile doesn't falter. Those are preliminary drafts. Nothing official. They're dated after the board meeting. And the amounts are none of your concern. Her voice sharpens. Your administrative staff. Your job is to file, not analyze. But if these are accurate, you've been careful. She stands. Moves around the desk. Be very careful what you accuse me of. I'm not accusing. I'm asking. You're stepping into territory that could ruin your career. Or worse. The threat is clear. Unmistakable. I could go to HR, I say, voice shaking. Or the board directly. You could. But then I'd have to explain how you accessed confidential executive files without authorization. How you violated your employment agreement. Your NDA. She tilts her head. Corporate espionage is a serious accusation, Bertha. It could follow you for years. Make you unemployable. I realize too late I'm trapped. She's thought this through. What do you want? I ask quietly. Your silence. Your resignation. Effective immediately. And if I refuse, then I'll make sure you regret it. The scene shifts. I'm in the parking garage now. Days later. I've refused. Tried to gather more evidence. Tried to find someone I could trust. But Vanessa found out. The footsteps behind me aren't random. They're purposeful. You should have taken the offer, Bertha. I run. But there's nowhere to go. The exits are blocked. Someone grabs my arm. Spins me around. Not Vanessa. A man. Corporate security, maybe. Or hired for this specifically. She just wants to talk, he says. But his grip is too tight. His smile too cold. I pull away. Stumble. My head hits something. The world tilts. And then. Cold. Snow. The street. Someone leaving me there. Checking my pulse. Deciding I'm close enough to gone. Walking away. I come back to the hotel room gasping. Richard is kneeling in front of me. Hands on my shoulders. Not restraining. Anchoring. Breathe, he's saying. Bertha, breathe. I try. My lungs feel too small. I remember, I choke out. Everything. I remember everything. He goes very still. Tell me. I do. Every detail. Vanessa. The embezzlement. The threats. The parking garage. Richard's expression doesn't change, but I can feel the fury radiating off him. She tried to kill you, he says flatly. She had someone else do it. Keep her hands clean. Same result. He stands. Pulls out his phone. Starts making calls. What are you doing? Calling my lawyer. My head of security. People who can help. Richard, she's powerful. Connected. You said yourself. I don't care. His voice is ice. She tried to kill you. That ends now. The certainty should comfort me. Instead, it highlights everything I've been afraid of. This isn't your fight, I say. He stops. Looks at me. Yes, it is. Why? Because you feel responsible? Because I'm some charity case you can't abandon. Because he stops himself. Regroups. Because it's the right thing to do. Not the truth. A version of it. Safer. You're going to make yourself a target, I say quietly. The second you go after her, she'll come after you too. Let her try. Richard. What would you have me do, Bertha? Walk away? Pretend this didn't happen? Let her get away with attempted murder because confronting her is inconvenient. I'd have you stay safe. At what cost? Your life. Your business. Everything you've built. He sets his phone down. Moves closer. And what about you? What's the cost of doing nothing? I stay hidden. Start over somewhere else. Disappear. That's not living. That's surviving. Sometimes survival is enough. Is it? He's close now. That dangerous proximity that makes thinking difficult. Is that really what you want? To spend the rest of your life looking over your shoulder? Never knowing if she's found you? Never able to exist fully? Better than getting you killed. That's not your decision to make. The words hit like a slap. Yes, it is. I stand. Face him. You've spent weeks making decisions about my safety. About where I go and who I talk to. Now I'm making one. And my decision is that I won't let you sacrifice yourself for me. That's not, isn't it? You want to go after Vanessa. Use your resources. Your connections. Paint a target on your back. All to protect someone you barely know. I know you. You know a version of me that's broken and scared and dependent. That's not who I was before. And it's not who I'm choosing to be now. He stares at me. Something shifting in his expression. What are you saying? I take a breath. Make the choice I've been avoiding. I'm saying I'm going to handle this myself. My way. And you're going to let me. No. It's not a negotiation. Bertha. I have evidence now. Memories. Names. I can go to the authorities. Tell them everything. Let the legal system handle it. The legal system is slow. And Vanessa has lawyers who specialize in making problems disappear. Maybe. But it's my risk to take. Silence. Heavy. Loaded. You're choosing to push me away, Richard says finally. To handle this alone. I'm choosing to protect you the same way you've been protecting me. By leaving. The word hangs between us. Truth we've both been avoiding. If that's what it takes. His jaw tightens. I can see the war happening behind his eyes. The part that wants to fight. The part that knows I'm right. And what about us? He asks quietly. The question breaks something in my chest. There is no us, Richard. You made that clear. No attachment. No love. Just responsibility. That's not fair, isn't it? You've spent every moment since I woke up keeping distance. Building walls. Reminding both of us this is temporary. Because I was trying to protect yourself. I know. And now I'm doing the same. The silence that follows feels final. Richard turns away. Runs a hand through his hair. When he speaks, his voice is carefully controlled. If this is your decision, I'll respect it. But I'm not abandoning you completely. You'll have resources. Protection. A way to reach me if things go wrong. Richard. That's non-negotiable. We stand on opposite sides of the room. Two people who fell despite every reason not to. I'll make arrangements tomorrow, he says. Get you somewhere safe. Help you coordinate with authorities. Thank you. He nods. Doesn't look at me. And I realize the cruelest irony of all. I finally remember who I am. And choosing to be that person means walking away from the only man I've ever wanted to stay for. 3 weeks later, I'm sitting in a coffee shop 2 blocks from the federal building. The meeting with the FBI took 4 hours. Questions. Documents. Recorded testimony. They listened. Took notes. Said they'd investigate. No promises. No guarantees. Just the slow machinery of justice starting to turn. Vanessa Chen was placed on administrative leave pending investigation. Hartfield Industries released a statement about their commitment to transparency and ethics. All very corporate. All very careful. She hasn't been arrested yet. Maybe she never will be. But I testified. Told the truth. Reclaimed that much. My phone buzzes. A text from the victim's advocate assigned to my case. Remember, healing isn't linear. Take your time. I pocket the phone. Sip coffee that's gone lukewarm. The door chimes. I don't look up. You're hard to find. My heart stops. Richard slides into the seat across from me. He looks different. Tired. Like he hasn't been sleeping either. I didn't want to be found, I say quietly. I know. We sit in silence. The coffee shop hums with afternoon conversation. Normal people living normal lives. How did you? I start. Your advocate. She said you might need support today. Called me. You're still listed as my emergency contact. You haven't changed it. No. I haven't. The FBI meeting went well, he asks. As well as those things go. They're building a case. It'll take months. But it started. Yes. Another silence. Heavier this time. I've been staying at a women's shelter, I say. Not sure why I'm telling him. Temporary housing while I figure things out. They've been helpful. Good. I got my apartment back. Turns out I had 6 months paid in advance. Vanessa probably hoped I'd just disappear before the lease ran out. Will you stay there? I don't know. It feels. I search for the word. Haunted. Like living in someone else's life. Richard nods like he understands. I've been thinking about moving, he says suddenly. The penthouse doesn't feel right anymore. Too many windows. A ghost of a smile. Too empty. The admission hangs between us. Vulnerable. Honest. Why are you here, Richard? He looks at me then. Really looks. And I see everything he's been holding back for weeks. Because I've spent 3 weeks trying to convince myself that letting you go was the right thing. The safe thing. The thing that protects us both. And I don't believe it anymore. My breath catches. I still don't believe in love, he continues. Voice low. Careful. I still think attachment is dangerous. That caring about someone gives them power to destroy you. Then why? Because you already have that power. Whether I see you or not. Whether I admit it or not. You're there. In every room of that empty penthouse. In every decision I make. In every moment I try to convince myself I'm fine alone. Tears prick my eyes. I blink them back. That's not fair, I whisper. I know. You can't just show up after 3 weeks and say that. I know that too. I'm still figuring out who I am. Still healing. Still scared most days. I know. I might leave again. Might decide I need space or distance or... I know Bertha. He reaches across the table. Doesn't take my hand. Just places his palm up. An offering. A choice. I can't promise this will work, he says. Can't promise I won't pull away when things get hard. Can't promise I've figured out how to believe in permanence. Then what are you promising? To try. To show up. To stop running from the one thing that terrifies me most. Which is you. Us. The possibility that maybe attachment isn't just about losing. Maybe it's also about having something worth losing in the first place. A tear escapes. Slides down my cheek. I don't know how to do this, I admit. Don't know how to be with someone when I'm still learning who I am. Then we figure it out together. Without guarantees. Without guarantees. I look at his hand. Still open. Still waiting. This is the moment. The choice. I could walk away. Protect us both. Keep the damage contained. Or I could reach back. My hand moves before my brain catches up. Fingers sliding into his. Palm to palm. Warm. Richard's grip tightens. Just slightly. Like he's afraid I'll change my mind. This is terrifying, I whisper. Yes. We're both terrible at this. Yes. We might destroy each other. Or we might not. The possibility hangs there. Fragile. Uncertain. Real. What do we do now? I ask. Whatever comes next. Slowly. With boundaries and honesty and all the therapy we can afford. That startles a laugh out of me. Wet. Shaky. But real. You're suggesting therapy? I'm suggesting we don't repeat the same patterns. That we learn how to be damaged people who choose each other anyway. It's the most honest thing he's ever said to me. Okay, I say finally. Okay. Okay, we try. No promises. No pressure. Just trying. Something shifts in his expression. Relief, maybe. Or hope. He stands. Doesn't let go of my hand. Come on. Where? Anywhere that isn't here. Dinner. A walk. Your choice. My choice. Not his decision. Not his control. Mine. I stand. Keep my hand in his. There's a park nearby. I've been walking there when things feel too big. Show me. We leave the coffee shop together. Step into late afternoon sunlight that feels warmer than it should. The park is quiet. Trees just starting to show green. Spring coming slowly after a brutal winter. We walk in silence. Hands still connected. Not talking. Just existing in the same space. I don't know what I'm doing, I say eventually. Neither do I. This could be a mistake. Probably is. But you're staying anyway. He stops. Turns to face me. Lifts his free hand to my face. Touches my cheek the way he did weeks ago in his penthouse. I'm staying anyway, he confirms. And then he does something he's never done before. He kisses me. Soft. Careful. Like I'm something precious and breakable and worth the risk. When he pulls back, his forehead rests against mine. Still terrified, he whispers. Me too. Still don't believe in happily ever after. Good? Neither do I. But maybe. Maybe what? He's quiet for a moment. Then, maybe we believe in this. Right now. Today. Today. Not forever. Not guaranteed. Just now. I can do today, I say. Then that's enough. We stand there in the park as the sun sets. Two people choosing each other without knowing how the story ends. It's not perfect. It's not certain. But when Richard's arms wrap around me and I let myself lean into the warmth, I realize something crucial. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do isn't protect yourself from pain. Sometimes it's choosing connection anyway. And for the first time since waking up in that hospital bed, I'm not just surviving. I'm learning how to live, even if I'm still terrified of what that means. I move back into my apartment. Richard helps. Doesn't try to convince me to stay at the penthouse. Respects the boundary. We see each other 3 times a week. Dinners. Walks. Slow rebuilding. Therapy helps. Both individual and together. Learning that attachment doesn't mean losing yourself. That boundaries aren't rejection. Vanessa Chen is indicted on 11 counts of fraud and embezzlement. The trial is set for next year. I testify at the preliminary hearing. Richard sits in the gallery. Doesn't intervene. Just witnesses. Afterward, he asks if I'm okay. I am. Mostly. We're learning that mostly okay is enough. Some days are harder. Memories still surface. Fear still grips me. But Richard is there. Not fixing. Not controlling. Just present. And I'm learning to be present too. For him. For myself. We don't talk about love. But when he holds my hand in the dark and whispers, I'm here, I think maybe we're building something better. Something real. Without guarantees. Without certainty. But with the fragile, terrifying hope that maybe, just maybe, warmth is worth the risk of cold. Before you go, rate this story from 1 to 10 in the comments. I really want to know how it landed for you. If it meant something to you, like the video, subscribe, and tell me what moment hit you the hardest.